Hey everybody, Tech May here. Today at Tech's Talking Shop, we are talking about our worst customer service experience, or the worst customers we've had. Now, the job I have now and the job I had before, I deal with more customers now than I did before, but we got more weird customers back at the dealership. So I'm going to talk about a couple of those. So we had this younger girl, maybe 30s, come in. She said, I just bought this, I think it was a 2012 Yukon or something along those lines, one of those year model. So it wasn't super new. Well, it wasn't new at all because it was, 2 years ago. So 7-year-old car. And she was like, I just want an overall inspection done on it. And we were like, oh yeah, absolutely. No problem. We can do that. Well, this car was a piece of work. Now, I don't remember everything that it needed, but I know that it needed like a couple $1,000s worth of work done to it. Like, I know it needed 4-wheel brakes. It needed, I want to say struts all around. It needed control arms, or I don't know. It needed a bunch of work. So, with that being said, we just kind of were like, okay, well, these are the things you need to fix first, and then, we can kind of do things in the order that we think necessary for other things, because I think it had a couple of leaks too, but nothing that was like absolutely pouring out where it was like, no, you need to fix this right now. It was like, oh, hey, this is starting to leak, this is what we see. We gave her our overall, 127 point inspection, and we had a list of things to do, and they were like, do it. And we're like, this car's not really worth it to put all that money in. And then we come to find out they had just bought it. So at that point, we didn't know they had just bought it, but they just bought this car. So we do the brakes, some suspension parts, the alignment, and maybe a couple other things. So, it was a really good ticket. We get it done, and then ship her off. Don't see her for a while, maybe a month, I don't know. And then she comes back in, and she ended up coming in a couple times, and it was just bad. So she drove the car, but somebody else bought it for her. So at first we thought it was like a father-daughter duo, but then we were thinking it's more along the lines of a daddy situation, if you catch what I'm throwing down. So she kept coming in with all these complaints, saying we weren't doing anything, like straight up screaming at her service advisor in the service lane. It got to the point where he was like, ma'am, you didn't pay for any of this. Like, I can talk to, your dad, and see what he says or whatever. And she just kept going off about how she paid for it and yada, yada, yada. Like, it ended up, like, our service manager had to come out and, like, he was like, do we need to call the cops, or are you going to calm down type ordeal? And she ended up calming down, but it was just ever since nation. So her first complaint was, ever since we did her alignment, her blinkers don't work correctly. Okay, not sure how that works, but so the tech takes the car, and we have a couple little, we have a mile loop, 4-mile loop, we just go drive around, and see if you can find their complaint. He was like, your blinkers work fine. Well, it comes to find out she wasn't making, like, complete turns. So, if your steering wheel doesn't go far enough one way or the other, it doesn't actually turn it off. So her blinkers just kept staying on. Her next complaint, like a week or two later, was we closed her hood so hard that we dented the hood. And we're like, ma'am, no, we have pictures of, like, your vehicle, like, they do walk-arounds for this reason of, like, vehicle damage and all that stuff. And we're like, we have proof that we didn't, and when you first came in, and then I think we ended up just, like, it was just easier to, like, get our body guy out there and fix a couple of dents she had in the hood. And then she came back for a third reason, and I don't remember what it was, but it got to the point where every time she came in with her car, all the techs just went running, because they knew that it was going to be a nightmare. And eventually she ended up just stopped coming in, because I think she got all the work done that she wanted to get out of it. So that was probably the craziest, and I just remember, like, walking in from the back shop from getting something out of my car, or something and just hearing screaming up in the service lane. It's never a good thing when you hear screaming in a service lane, especially, it's just not good. So that's one crazy story. The other one I can think of off the top of my head, it's kind of crazy. It's just kind of like a slap in the face, more along the lines. So at this point, I think it was during COVID when things were like extremely slow. So you had a car come in, you had every hourly person on it, and then whoever the flat rate tech was. Well, I was hourly, so I think it was just an oil change or something like that. So it was me, the other 2 hourly. We had 3 other hourly kids at that point. One which was a girl, and the other 2 were kids. Well, they weren't kids, but I call them kids. They were like 18-year-old, 19-year-old boys. Cool. So we see the car come up into the lane. We all start walking up there to, go get it in and out efficiently because there's nothing else to do, and we don't want to be cleaning the shop anymore. And at this point, our service manager is doing the service writing because one of our advisors was out with cancer and the other one was out because of COVID. So he was writing tickets and stuff. No big deal. Well, this lady comes and she straight up looks at him and was like, she looked at me, she looked at him, she goes, "I don't want any females working on my car. They don't know what they're doing. I'd rather have a male." Excuse me? Ma'am, your car's getting here for an oil change. An oil change of which, if any of these hourly people did it, I would be the least likely the one to make the mistake. But whatever. Have your wishes. I'm pretty sure our service advisor or our manager stuck up for me and was like, "Ma'am, she's like our best, apprentice we have here," and he was just trying to brag about me because it's an oil change. I mean, there's very many ways you can mess up an oil change, but like, for real, you don't want somebody a female working on your car. I don't think she saw the other female hourly kid. She just saw me. So, and I think it ended up being, they did her oil change, not me. I stayed very far away. And I think it got to the point where after, they did her service, our manager told her that if she did not want women working on her car, she would no longer be accepted at that dealership because it's wrong. At that time, it was both of us. We had 2 women at the dealership working on whatever we could get our hands on. So those are my couple crazy stories. I'm sure there's more, but those are just the 2 that stick out the most. We used to have people just come walk around the shop like they own the place and try to tell you what you're doing. I never knew why they were allowed out on the shop floor, but they were. So if you guys got some crazy stories, let us know. Text Talk and Shop is a great group of people. We like to hear everybody else's experience. On top of ours, we appreciate you watching our videos. If you guys could like, comment, share, and subscribe. I try to answer to every comment that I can. And make sure you watch the other series, or the other videos in the series too, because there's definitely going to be some interesting stories. And I believe this time we have a couple different guests, and I already know their stories are going to be crazy. So, that being said, you guys have a good day. Make sure you watch all the videos in the series. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Subscribe to all of us. We all put out some pretty good content, and we're all very different, too. So, with that being said, you guys have a great weekend. I'll see you in the next one.